Hi, my name is Isaac, and this is a 2020 Ford Ranger Lariat FX4 package. And this is a 2020 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road package. And today, I'm gonna compare them for you guys. Now, the Toyota Tacoma's production has gone on pretty much uninterrupted for the last 30 years or so, but in 2011, the Ford Ranger's life was tragically cut short when it was canceled. Not too dissimilar to my music career, where I exclusively covered Michael W. Smith songs.
Looking for a reason, roaming through the night to find my place in this world, my place in this world.
Problem is, when you exclusively cover Michael W. Smith songs, people just listen to the Michael W. Smith version. Unlike my music career though, the Ford Ranger is back, and I think out of any midsize pickup truck, this has the biggest chance of dethroning the Taco as king of the midsizes.
Before we begin, I want to thank Koch 33 Toyota and Koch 33 Ford for allowing me to compare these trucks. For all your Ford or Toyota needs, you can visit both dealerships right off of Route 33 in Easton, Pennsylvania, or at their websites, which I'll leave links to in the description below.
Now, before we get into the full comparison, I'll address the lifted truck in the room, and that's that this TRD Off-Road is not stock. This is had some dealer options, including a lift and Black Rhino Armory wheels on it. Now, Koch has been selling so many Tacomas that this is actually the last one they had available on the lot. Like, this is it. So when I went to go get the Ranger, I was like, oh, nuts. I figured you'd have more Tacomas, but they haven't been able to get any more in. And the closest comparison to this FX4 would be this TRD Off-Road. So I figured I'd compare them. Now, body style, they're the same. Interior, they're the same. There's nothing, no modifications to that. So I think that that would be a fair comparison. Just take note that every Tacoma does not come lifted like this. That's just this specific one. And yeah, let's get on to the front fascias. Other than that, you're gonna get LED headlights on the Ranger and these really cool wraparound LED daytime running lights, as well as LED fog lights, and you get two front tow hooks. On the Tacoma, you're only gonna get one front tow hook, and then this is gonna be halogen headlights with a wraparound LED daytime running light and halogen fog lights. Now, those are very easily swapped out, though I'm gonna give the point here to the Ranger just because it's incorporated the LEDs. Now, I'm not gonna be keeping track of who wins. Trucks are such a unique category to review because, you know, everybody has their own feelings on each brand, so I'm gonna leave it up to you guys as the viewer to which one you think's best, but I am gonna directly compare what features these have. Moving on, this is gonna have Toyota Safety Sense built into the grille here in the Toyota emblem. That's gonna be your lane departure warning, your automatic braking, your radar guided cruise control, stuff like that. You also have a camera up by the mirror, and new for 2020 is this grille on the TRD Off-Roads. I believe there's a new grille for the TRD Sport, the SR5, and the Limited as well. That might be on the base SR, I'm not 100% sure. Up front here on the Ranger, not much has changed since the new refresh from the 2019 model year. You're still gonna get Ranger spelled out across the front. I really love that on the grille. This is just a traditional Ford logo, though you do have Ford 360 degree, I think it's called Ford 360, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the name of their safety thing. But you get safety stuff on this. And that's up there by the mirror as well. There's a little camera built into there. Now, front looks. Here's the thing, it depends on the trim you get, the how it looks, what you mod to it. From these two, comparing them, I think the Tacoma might look a little bit cooler. But you don't have to take my word for it. Not to say that the Ranger's a bad looking truck. I actually really do like how this Ranger looks. I think it looks very aggressive. Maybe I'm just a little bit more Tacoma centric, and my opinion is invalid because I own a Tacoma. So do with that what you will. Let's move to the profiles. Moving on to the profiles of each truck, ignore the wheels. Ignore the wheels in the lift. It doesn't exist. Forget it exists, it never happened. On the top layer of the Tacoma, you're gonna get these black matte plastic fender flares. You're gonna get a turn signal indicator on the mirror cap that is body colored as well. This one has blacked out Tacoma emblems. I think that's part of the package that Koch put on. Normally you'd get chrome emblems on here. Keyless entry on here, you tap once on there, it locks the door. You put your hand behind it, that unlocks the door, very nice. And then you're also gonna get a TRD 4x4 off-road badge on the back there. Moving to the side profile of the Ranger, you're gonna get, I'll talk about the wheels on this. You get these very nice, I believe they're 17-inch wheels with these Dynapro tires, really like the white lettering on them. I think that makes them stand out, makes them, I don't know, it feels like they're a little bit more off-road, a little bit more aggressive. You're gonna get a Ranger Lariat badge right here. This also has a turn signal indicator on the mirror cap. This one also does have the keyless entry, though we're on the passenger side. This can do that. You're also gonna get a running board on here. And lastly, this does have an FX4 off-road package sticker on the back as well. Both of these trucks have lane departure warning, so they're pretty evenly matched in that department when it comes to safety and such. Let's do engines. Moving underneath the hoods in both of these trucks, this is where it gets interesting. The only option for a Ranger under the hood is a 2.3 liter inline-4 EcoBoost engine. Underneath this particular Tacoma, you have a 4-liter option, but this is the 3.5 liter V6. Now, this is where all the Toyota fanboys would be like, ha, got you again, Ford. We've defeated you. That's where I'm here to sadly tell you you're wrong, Toyota fanboys. This makes 278 horsepower and 265 foot-pound of torque with the V6. The EcoBoosted 4-cylinder makes 310 foot-pound of torque, though the horsepower is a little bit better on this. This only does 270 horsepower. So 278, 270, but when it comes to torque, 310 and 265. So not too great, Toyota. What are you doing with your V6? This guy definitely wins in the torque category. Now moving to the backs of the truck, the first thing I wanted to point out, now when I was parking in these I noticed, so this is the lifted Tacoma. The Ranger's bed is actually higher in the back, it must be a suspension lift here, than the lifted Tacoma even. So I'm sure a regular Tacoma is even lower than this. You're gonna have blind spot monitor incorporated into the tail light on the Ranger. That is absent on the Tacoma, though it does still have the blind spot monitoring. Both trucks have the names of the trucks embossed into the tailgates here. I think that's pretty cool. I really like that design. Both of them have backup cameras. You got the Ford logo, Toyota spelled out in the back there. Now, the most important part of a truck is towing, payload capacity, and how good your bed is. So I'm gonna leave this up to you guys, but move over to the Toyota. Dampened tailgate with a composite bed. Very nice. I've mentioned on my Tacoma how I love my composite bed, but moving over to the Ranger, isn't that a shame? Poor Ranger. No option for a dampened tailgate on any of these trims. You might be able to do something aftermarket with that, but that is truly a shame. You do get spray and bed liner on the back here. You get some cargo tie downs. That's about it on this Ranger. On the back of the Tacoma, you do get a household power outlet and a storage cubby. So in this case, I have to give it to the Tacoma just because in addition to the cargo tie downs, you get a little bit more practicality out of the bed. You also get the dampened tailgate. But when it comes to max towing capacity, Ford Ranger has up to 7,500 pounds, while the Tacoma only has up to 6,800 pounds. Neither of those are the configurations that these trucks are. They're the like 2-wheel drive long bed ones. So you take that into account, but this technically does have the better towing capacity, and I can hear all the Ford fanboys now going, ha, got you again, Toyota. But you know, that is really up to you if you're really looking for the practicality. It seems like the Toyota has the little bit more practical use bed, but the Ranger has a better towing capacity. It also says that the payload for this is 2,080 pounds everywhere I could find online, while this I think only has up to a 1,600 pound payload capacity. So close to 1,700, but you know, this does technically have a better payload capacity. So without further ado, let's move on to the interiors. Now, I have done the interiors of both these trucks. I have pretty comprehensive reviews on both of them. So what I'm gonna try to do here is just highlight the similarities between the trucks, what one truck does have, what one truck doesn't, and then we're gonna kind of do almost like a speed round on the interior here. Now moving on into the interior of the Ranger first, you have all your steering wheel controls laid out very nicely on here. It is really cool. You do have one single gauge cluster, and then that's flanked by two smaller screens which are controlled from the buttons on here. That's a very interesting design. I think the Explorer has that as well. That's not something you see all too common. Over here you do get an 8-inch touchscreen. This has the newest version of Sync, the most current one that you can get on a vehicle. Very responsive. I think Sync might be one of the best infotainments in the industry right now. Really, really nice overall. You get a little like glasses holder up here, and then you also have glasses holders up here, your dome lights. This particular one does have heated seats, and then you get a nice leather wrapped shifter here as well. This one also does have leather. The TRD Off-Road is cloth, if I am not mistaken. All your controls here. This does have engine auto start stop. It has a rear locker, and you have your towing modes and your hill descent control, and then you have a dial right here to turn for your different 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, high-low, stuff like that. This is a push button start as well. This has a Bang & Olufsen sound system in it. When it comes to interior quality, the buttons and the textures, this is hard touch here. This is soft touch, interestingly, at the top over here. But resting your arm right here on the armrest, that's very comfortable. The seats are very comfortable in here. This does tend to drive a little bit more like an SUV. I'll get to that in a minute when we take these both out to drive. But overall, the interior is very well appointed in here. You definitely can't go wrong with it. Only a passenger side grab handle, no driver side grab handle. Tisk, 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 Ford. The Ranger does a lot of stuff right. It does some stuff wrong. The Tacoma does a lot of stuff right. It does some stuff wrong. This is, I think, the biggest differentiator. Are you going to be taking passengers? Are you going to get a crew cab? Let's see. So the Ranger has a fold-down armrest with cup holders. Great. But it only has an option for a manually sliding rear window. Bad. But it does have a household outlet back here and USBs, which is great. So those are the really big pluses of the interior back here on the Ranger. Let's do the Tacoma. Moving inside the Tacoma, you have two traditional gauges with a small screen in the center. That's going to give you most of your trip information in there. And then you can control that all from the steering wheel. Moving over here, if I turn it on, you do get a big 8-inch display. This is new for 2020 with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That's also on the Ranger. So, oh, big whoop. Okay, I'll turn the truck on. All right. This truck likes to beep at you quite a lot. Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm aware the vehicle is on. Thank you. Great. Okay, cool. So, moving on into the infotainment on here. This one is not as quick as the Rangers. The Ranger does have a little bit better, more responsive touchscreen. As you'll see, I hit that button, it took a little bit. Not to say that it's bad. Toyota does a very good job with their infotainment. I really like the infotainment on my 19 Ranger, but it's a little tiny bit slower to respond than the Rangers, so I'd give it to the Ranger in that category. Now, you do get your button right here for the power sliding rear window, something we'll get to in a minute. The Ranger does not have an option for that. New for the 2020, you also have power seats on the Tacoma. That was not previously available. That is also available on the Ranger, so they're pretty equally matched in that case. You have your climate controls. This TRD Off-Road does not have leather or heated seats, though that is an option on the Tacoma. This one does also only has a passenger side grab handle, no driver side. Tisk, tisk, very disappointing on both parts. I'm disappointed in both of you. You do also get wireless charging, and like you do on the Ranger, USBs, and then your buttons for your parking sensors and your blind spot monitoring. You also have a heated mirror on that. I'm pretty sure you probably get that. On both the trucks, you do get a manual parking brake, which I really like, the shifter. On both trucks, you get a manual parking brake, which I really like. I prefer this to the regular one. On both trucks, you get a manual parking brake. I prefer this to the electronic ones. I prefer to actually pull something, so that's really nice. And then this one also has a leather-wrapped gear shifter. I like the gears on both of these. I think that they're both pretty cool. I think that about wraps up the interior. Up top here, you do get your crawl control and your buttons for off-roading, not too dissimilar to the buttons you got on the Ranger that were lower placed. And then you also do get your direction in the mirror. Alrighty, driving the 2020 Ford Ranger. It is a good truck. handles well. You know, I think a lot of people were very apprehensive about the 4-cylinder initially. They were like, 4 cylinders? I can't do that. That's terrible, and I'm angry. But once you actually get it out there, I think that you don't really notice the difference between the 4-cylinder and the V6. The only thing you really have to worry about is slightly embarrassing yourself when you tell everybody you drive a 4-cylinder. I feel like there's so much of that stigma around, you know, 4 cylinders and everything like that. And like, well, you know, it's not that bad. It's not that bad at all. This is either an 8 or a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it really opens up quite nicely. I love driving this because it does handle very well. I think that it does feel more SUV-like. I think that's the biggest thing comparatively to a Tacoma. It feels more like it's an SUV. That's not necessarily bad for some people, but you know, some people really want their trucks to feel like trucks, and this handles a little bit more like that SUV kind of Explorer and Edge type of, it's got that type of feel, which isn't bad. It's good. I mean, I like that overall. I think that for me personally, it's hard to compare these two trucks because I think it's all a matter of opinion. To me, this feels more SUV-like. This feels more like, probably shouldn't have had the windows down, right? That's probably dumb. Probably just getting a lot of air noise, really, if anything. I feel like if you're looking for a truck with a good towing capacity and you want something with good payload, and it's handsome, very handsome truck. In conclusion, driving the Ranger, wrapping this up, I definitely think it's a truck that's worth a look. And if you're in the market for a midsize, I would definitely take a look at it. I'd take a look at both a Ranger and a Tacoma if you're kind of indecisive in between them. I was just talking to somebody last night, a friend of mine, who is in the same boat. He's like, man, I don't know if I should get a Ranger, if I should get a Tacoma, which one's better for me. He's a little bit more of a Ford fan. And so I encouraged him to test drive both. He has test driven the Ranger, and I let him test drive my Tacoma because I was like, listen, you know, at the end of the day, like I said earlier in the video, everybody's pretty preferential in the truck industry. You know, I like this because of that, and some other people don't like, for instance, maybe some people love the manual sliding rear window back there. They don't want the power one because they think that the power one is gonna break. It's more stuff to break. That's fair. That's a fair argument. So I think in doing these videos, which I love to do, I can't make an apt comparison definitively of which one's better. I can't crown one the king because everybody's unique. I mean, it would be my opinion. It would be biased if I were to say the Ranger or the Tacoma was better. But I want to give you guys the facts so you can come to that conclusion, because maybe you prefer that manually sliding window to the power sliding one. So let's take the Tacoma for a spin. So driving the 2020 Tacoma, now according to Toyota, they fixed some of the previous shifting issues with the 3rd generation up to this point, where it was having issues, you know, it would jump gears and stuff. Now my 19 Tacoma experiences that. Overall, feels pretty similar to my 19 Tacoma. Obviously, this one rides a little bit higher, and it does have the adjustable seats, which I like. I've sat in some of these guys that are the base models and use the adjustable seats, and they're very nice. I really, really like them. I think for me personally, Toyota will always be in my heart. I wanted a Ram forever, but then when I got the Tacoma, I drove it. I remember I was up here at Koch, and it was like, it was surreal, because I think I'll always remember that. I was up there and I had saved for so many years to be able to get this truck, and I'd been looking at trucks for years, and I was like, okay, I kind of like this truck, and I test drove it, and I had driven Rams, I'd driven Fords, I'd driven Chevys, I'd driven GMCs at that point, and I was like, this is it. This is the truck for me. And I know that not everybody's gonna have that experience. I know a lot of people I've talked to, they said, oh yeah, I test drove a Tacoma and I actually really didn't like it. So like I said in the previous clip, I think that it really depends on what you're looking for in a truck. And if you feel that, you know, the Tacoma's right for you, go with the Tacoma. And if you sit in that Ranger and you go, this is the truck, don't stop yourself. Either way, these are both great trucks, and I would just say, get whichever one you feel is best for you. And I think I made the right decision when I bought my Tacoma. And no matter what truck you get, I get all these comments, all these people, they're like, oh, I got this truck, I got that truck, yada yada. And they're like, it's way better than the Tacoma. And I understand that. I understand it, and I get it, because when you drive certain vehicles, you know, you feel it, and you're like, this is better, this is my truck. And I was the same way with the Tacoma. When I drove everything, I would have argued you, I would have fought you on saying that, oh, well, the Tacoma's better than the Colorado, or the Tacoma's better than the Canyon, because I felt that it was. And, you know, I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion of that. And that's why I love doing these truck videos, because at the end of the day, I love every truck. Like, there's not a truck other than the Cybertruck that I hate. Like, at first I was kind of indecisive on the Jeep Gladiator, but I really came around on the Gladiator once I fully reviewed it and stuff. And I just love doing this. I love doing this. This is like my quiet time, my peaceful time, the space that I need in my day. I mean, it was really hot today. I did 4 reviews today, but I always love reviewing these guys for you guys. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to say buy this, buy that. I encourage you to test drive everything. If you're between 2 trucks, test drive both of them. See what you like, you know? And I think that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think this is going to wrap up the video. If you have any prayer requests, you feel free to leave that in the comment section below. I thought recently as a Christian I should do more to tell you guys about my faith in Jesus, and I also wanted to connect with you guys more in the comment sections, and I was like, oh, well, what if I asked them for prayer requests? That's something innocuous, because, you know, if you're an unbeliever, what's the prayer request? If I pray for you and it doesn't get better, okay, then it didn't get better, but then if it does, great, awesome. That's the least I can do for everybody, is pray for them. And because I care about you. You're all people that I really care about. And I never thought I'd have an audience like this. It's really awesome. That in itself is a blessing. But if you're looking for any Toyota or Ford, you can go to Koch 33 Auto on Route 33 in Easton, Pennsylvania, or to their websites. I'll link both of them in the description below. Oh man, it was so cool to be able to do this comparison test. I'm really hoping to be able to do more comparison tests in the future. We'll see what that holds, comparing different brands and stuff. If you guys liked the video, if you could leave a like and subscribe, that would really help me. The buttons right below this, that would really help me get into the YouTube algorithm, and it would help my video get out to more people. So I really appreciate it. No matter what vehicle you have, I'll be praying it lasts you a long time and it serves you well. Take care.